Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. I'd like to think that my voice represents the voice of truth, and that is why I stand before you to deliver it to you. Today I've chosen to speak on the subject matter, the New World Order. Now, you've heard of the New World Order. There's no doubt in my mind. But I'm calling this the true New World Order. For decades, I have studied the New World Order that has been planned for humans since the deception was implemented. It was designed by those that have taken all the negatives that humans reject and present them as positives for those that will accept deception as truth. Truth is that there is a God, the maker of human beings and the earth where humans reside. As creator, provisions for human survival has been provided for by the maker, the parent, God. The negatives are results that do not represent the love of the Creator and is rejected by those who are confronted with them. Now, the deceiver does not have the ability to create, so it claims the negatives as its own, with the ability to produce everything that it has been proven to be unable to do. Its means of operation is to lie to humans in a way that promotes division. It employs the strategy of lying and cheating as a means of stealing that which has been produced by truth and rewarding it to the deceived as benefits of their own by being more deserving, better, all in an attempt to replace the real God and the truth. This started in the beginning, and it continues today. The main deceivers are hidden from the public in secrecy. They use human agents, those that accept such methods, to do their biddings. Wherever poverty, crime and violence, pain and suffering are found, they are there. The deceived do not know this. They have been convinced that those that follow the proper way are the problem and must be eliminated for them to receive the great life they have been promised. They have positioned agents in government and power all over the world. They are being obvious in the turmoils happening in Venezuela. It is the plan in operation. It is the same plan to be used in the United States. Its plan calls for the installation of Donald Trump, a man unfit to be president, but perfect to do their biddings. He is to incite hate amongst the citizens and split them up. Attorney General Barr is installed to assist his hatefulness, unlawful policies through Congress. Kavanaugh has been installed in the Supreme Court to protect their actions. The American people have been allowed to keep their guns to fight against the haters that will be turned loose against them when the grid has been shut down and business as usual has been interrupted. After destruction has occurred, the military will be sent in to bring order, at which time the New World Order will step in to bring the nation to order, an order that will not be rejected. Having conquered the major powers of the earth, they will be brought together as the deceiver planned from the beginning. According to the known information, they have plans to destroy billions of humans they consider as unneeded, as reflected in Agenda 21. There is much more destruction to occur, but I will put that off until a later time. On the other hand, God is the creator and father to humans, and God has a plan as well. That plan is to establish a new world order of peace, of prosperity and joy, freedom, and the fulfillment of dreams for all humankind. The fiasco of the presidential circles of 2016 was to expose the hand of the deceiver, to reveal not only to Americans, but to the world at large of evil and how it operates. God wants you to see these lies. God wants you to see these tricks. The hope is, with this knowledge, humankind will reject these lies and choose the truth that God makes no mistakes. Humankind is made by God and is loved. This love brings forward only the best for humans. Survival guaranteed by engaging everyone in a career of choice, which permits the creation of everything required, such as health care from the womb to the tomb, education unlimited and unrestricted, food, clothing, and shelter for every human alive on this earth, and the resources used are given freely by God. No further need for hatred, no further need for prejudice, for racism, for poverty, crime and violence, terror or war. This is your choice. God's new world order or the deceivers. What we see here, ladies and gentlemen, is a world order that is being put before you and that you have the choice to make. The deceivers, they didn't know. But because of what has happened and is happening today, not only do Americans see a man stand before the whole nation and lie as though it's the truth, that makes fun of people as though there's nothing wrong with it, that will cheat and steal and do anything to satisfy hate attitudes. You know, this is the conduct that happens not only here today, but it's always happened here in America. Places where this policy has been instilled over generations ago, they can identify with it if everybody has not died since that time. There is suffering all over the world, and humans have not been able to release that suffering. Russia is under dictatorship, they still hurt. North Korea under dictatorship, they still hurt. Americans trying to move to a dictatorship so that the privileged will not suffer, as the privilege in Russia does not suffer, as the privilege in North Korea does not suffer, as the privilege wherever dictatorships exist do not suffer. But the rest of the world do. And based upon the policies of the New World Order that's planned for you outside of truth, all of the rest of the people who number the billions, many of them will be wiped out. Enough left to serve as slaves to those who call themselves privileged. So what we have before us today, ladies and gentlemen, is an opportunity to address this matter. No longer do we have to pretend like our heads are in the sand. We see what Donald Trump is doing. We didn't know what Russia did. We didn't know what Germany did. But we see before our eyes what Donald Trump is doing. We see with our eyes today what the conservatives, Republicans are going along with this. We see the government being set up to produce and promote these particular kinds of activities. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is incumbent upon us today to stop this, to recognize that God is God, and allow the Spirit of God to live in us, not outside of us. And by living in us, make us courageous and bold enough to love one another, even our enemies, to the degree that we're not going to allow them to suffer by trying to cause pain on us. We're going to resist that pain by whatever means necessary. That is what it has been said before. We will resist it by whatever means necessary, except we will not put love aside and start acting like haters. But we will protect ourselves. And in so doing, those who would deceive us, those who are instruments of deception, will recognize the truth when the truth stands up. And that might sound kind of strange to you. You might say, well, why aren't the haters? Those who burn up churches, those who take guns and go out and kill innocent people, those who stand up and just call people of another shade of skin color demons. Why hasn't it changed that? Because they didn't even know what they were doing. They did not know what they were doing. Today we know, because the pain and suffering is to be inflicted upon we the people. And we don't have to stand up and allow that to happen. And if we stand up, my friends, I know it seems like it's an impossible task, but we are not alone. This is the true message that I want to give to you. We are not alone. Those deceivers have amassed all kinds of power. They own all of the resources. They have stolen them. They got the military. They got whatever it takes to defeat a people who have no power. But we are not a powerless people. We got God on our side. And if we receive that spirit legitimately and honestly with a pure heart, we truly are not alone. We have what it takes to be defended. And that is God. It is God that lets the plane, when it falls out of the sky, save one or two individuals. It is God that when a person drops off of a top of a building and still survives, it is God that does that. It is God that when a gun is put to a man's head and the trigger pulls and the bullet doesn't come out, it is God that does that. It is God that put mud on eyes and calls them to see. It is God that touches a man's hearing and bring it alive. It is God that touches a man's inability to speak and open it up. It is God that gives the dead life. We don't have to fear. Now, I know the things that I just shared with you about God. Individually, some of you might know of a situation where that really happened. But when you think about it all happening, you don't really know. But I'm trying to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I have the evidence. There are hundreds of thousands of us who have the evidence. We don't stand in pulpits and preach to you because the deceiving one has made sure that you don't get into the pulpits. But we do have the street corners. We do have the houses. We do have wherever individuals can assemble themselves. And not only that, we have the courts to stand up and resist even the courts. It might seem really, really complicated, ladies and gentlemen. But if you've ever seen a sick person on the way out stand up and shout hallelujah because they've been freed from all of the sickness, you'd understand. As I sit here thinking about what I've shared with you and thinking about the life that we've lived, how we've watched the privilege try to make everything adjust itself to fit the desires of the privileged, when all of the rest of the people find themselves in a situation and they adjust themselves to exist in the situation. To all people outside of the privileged people, we know how to exist, and we don't have to conform to anyone's ways. All we have to do is be ourselves and teach the privileged that now they got to adjust themselves, because we are going nowhere, and we will not be compromised. We will not allow the troubles that they can bring keep us and defeat us. We will prepare ourselves every day. So when the grids quit, we can keep on stepping. When they take the money out of the flow, we can keep on creating food and clothing and shelter and building houses and keeping cars running. We can keep on doing everything they thought we couldn't do unless we had money. We can show them that we can do it because the resources belong to God and the will comes from we the people. We must show them that they themselves have been deceived. But because we still love them, we're not going to kill them. We're not going to cast them out. We're just going to teach them love. I want to thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this your time. And I know to some of you it might have been confusing that what I've said here. But read, study to show yourselves approved. Not what the enemy has taught you. The enemy taught you that they discovered this land when people had been living here all the time. The enemy taught you that Columbus discovered America and graded you as a failure when you didn't accept it, and they knew it didn't. The enemy took blacks from Africa and other places and dehumanized them when they are the foundations of every place they've ever gone, when they themselves are the parent of everybody, even you white people, even you who call yourselves whatever. No human being on earth is absent the parenthood of blacks. So you might as well fall in love with us because we have proven that we love you. Thank you.